So good evening, everybody. So tonight I have Danielle Mathews with us as our special guest, along with Lynn Mathews, Danielle's mother. And I'm really excited for you to be joining us today. Danielle, you have an incredible story. It brings me to tears. No surprises there. I'm a pretty teary person, but yeah, your story is very moving. And so both of you, Lynn and Danielle, I know that back in 2012, something pretty devastating happened in your life. So over to you. We'll start there. And yeah, Danielle and Lynn, both of you have got something to share there, I know. So you can start, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Janene, for asking us to be on. And I'm so excited to get to share with people on the other side of the world. It's amazing. What happened 7 years ago has kind of transformed my life in a lot of ways, but I was in a really severe car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver head on. He passed out while driving and hit the car. And I walked out, and I looked like I look right now. I looked absolutely fine, but I kept saying that I felt out of it. And I wasn't feeling like myself. I was very apathetic. My personality had changed quite a bit. I was pretty blunt.
Yeah.
And my head was killing me. There was just a throbbing in my head that was constant and a pressure. I was really sensitive. I couldn't handle the input of just lights. Even natural light was too much for me. My mom thankfully got blackout fabric and put it, as curtains in the bedroom, so it was completely dark. And noise really bothered me. Just, the TV being on, someone talking on speakerphone on their phone. I couldn't handle any sort of noise. And was just basically in bed. I had no energy, was really exhausted. And, that happened in June, and I had been on a break from my work. I was teaching at the time, and so we were on something. And I remember just being in bed at my parents' house because I was home visiting them when this all happened, and just insisting that I was going to go back to work. And I remember my parents going, "Danielle, I don't think this is a good idea." And when you have an injury to your head, it's like you lose the ability to step outside of yourself and go, this isn't normal.
Yeah.
Because it's to me. And that was really the start of things. And I don't know, Mom, if you want to share anything, because you probably remember those days better than I do.
It was interesting because truly she looked fine. We thought, maybe a concussion. We had taken her to an emergency facility, and they actually, looking back, they did not follow any concussion protocol. They said it might be a little sore in a couple of days, but you're good to go basically. But she kept getting progressively worse instead of progressively better. And she was very insistent that she go back to work. And she was 25 at the time at this point, because it was 2 years after. Oh, I'm sorry.
3. Yeah.
Right. So it was 3 months and not 2 years. But she was old enough where we could not stop her. And against our better judgment, she went back to Colorado.
Wow. Okay.
And I'll let Danielle talk a little about Colorado, but as a parent, and we have the technology now with things like FaceTime and all, we kept in touch with her a lot, and you could just see in her eyes that she was not well. Mm-hmm. But again, it's a brain injury, and you just there's no recognition that you have a problem to that extent when your brain is injured. So when she got back to Colorado, even the school was making amazing concessions to help her navigate coming back. But Danielle, from your perspective, I'm sure.
I went back, it was like staff meetings before kids got there, and I couldn't handle it. I couldn't figure out who to pay attention to when conversations were happening, because so much noise was coming in, other conversations, or the fan going. And my principal told me to just go home. He said, "Look, lesson plan from home, just be ready for kids on day 1." And lesson planning was taking me 12 hours. And I wasn't registering that as strange. I would do a little bit of work, and then I'd go, "Oh, I'm tired." And I'd go lie down, and I'd take like a 5-hour nap. And I wake up and I do a little bit more. And basically what doctors were telling me was that, look, these symptoms will clear up in about a month. You should be okay. And so I started day 1 with kids. And I couldn't remember my kids' names. I couldn't remember the words I'd said right after I said them. I was standing in the front of the room, just completely overwhelmed with the lights and all the noise from the kids. And I went to my principal after my first class and I said, I can't do this. And I went home and I got a 6-week medical leave. And we tried all sorts of different things to get me well. You know, we changed my diet. We did different supplements. I did neurobiofeedback. I did hyperbaric oxygen treatments. I was trying all sorts of things, and nothing was really shifting. And, you know, doctors said, give it 3 months, 3 months, it should clear up. And so attempted to go back to work after, my leave, and same issue. They were smart. They put me in a classroom with 5 kids to give me a kind of demo lesson, and I couldn't. And that's when it really hit me that, like, this is a big problem and it's not going away. And I ended up having to leave the job. They said, we need to get a teacher in here. And so I lost my income.
Yes.
And I couldn't live on my own anymore. And I ended up moving back with my parents. My dad drove out and drove me back. I couldn't drive. He drove the whole way from Colorado to Maryland, which is like a day-long drive.
Yes.
And couldn't listen to music the whole drive. I mean, it had to be a silent car. My poor dad. I think about that drive now. I'm like, wow. But yeah, got home and it was more of the same. I mean, my mood really plummeted because I felt like I lost everything because my sense of self was gone. I mean, I couldn't talk to my friends because it exhausted me. I couldn't go out. I had no purpose left in life. I couldn't do anything, and no solutions were coming. 6 months in, it was, well, we thought it would clear up around 6 months. And then at a year in, my neurologist literally said to me in my appointment with him, he said, Danielle, this is just your new normal. He said, you need to adjust your life around these symptoms. With this type of injury, your body's done all the healing that it's going to do over the last year. And you need to move on with your life.
Wow.
And
that would have been shattering, right?
Yeah. And what's amazing, it worries me because how many other people has he said that to? And it's not the truth.
Yes. Yes.
Our bodies are incredible. And I'm just fortunate that my parents had the same mindset, and that I didn't take it as truth. I just thought, no, that can't be. I'm 24, living at home, feeling terrible. This will not be my life. But, I got kind of desperate. I got on a prescription medication for the pounding in my head because it hadn't stopped. It was constant every single day. And that still didn't really even touch it. And it was about 2 years after my accident that a friend of my mom's reached out to her and said, I've started using something in my practice, and it doesn't seem to matter the body system.
Yes.
It's really supporting them. And she said, I've been doing my work for decades, and I've never seen anything quite like this. And she said, I think it can pass the blood-brain barrier, and it can help Danielle. And my mom probably remembers that conversation better because she brought it home to me. I remember my response, but we'll get there later.
We'll talk about that in a sec. So, Lynn, what was it like for you as a mum seeing your daughter in this way for those 2 years? I mean, she's living there with you. She's not able to really participate in life. You're losing your daughter. What was that like?
It was devastating. And I know Danielle, it seems like when she's talking now, it's almost not glossing over it, but she was truly sleeping 18 to 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
When she was awake, she had no mental or physical energy. She would forget words. She couldn't find words. There were times when we had written directions for her just to do laundry, because she'd do a step and then she'd forget. It could take all day to do a load of laundry because she'd forget.
Yes.
Cooking, we had to create lists, especially if she was somewhere and she was cooking where there was an open flame, like a gas stove as opposed to electric.
Yep.
Because she couldn't multitask. She couldn't be on the telephone and doing another activity.
Yep.
And split her attention that way, which again, it was so hard because she looked fine.
Yeah.
Right? You look at her and she looked just like she looks now. So even family members, they were having a really hard time grasping what she was going through. I remember my sisters wanting to know, well, when's she going to go back to work? What's she going to do? Like, she's not well.
Yeah.
And we tried, as Danielle said, I took her to appointments 5 days a week. Sometimes we had 2 appointments in a day, trying so many different things, trying to find something that would help. And she would make a little bit of progress, but never to the point where she was healing.
Yes. And what sort of modalities did you try? Was it like acupuncture or?
We tried acupuncture. We tried hyperbaric oxygen, HBOT.
Wow.
That helped a little bit.
Yeah.
We tried, as she said, one pharmaceutical. We tried diet. Neurobiofeedback was another thing that we tried. When we did that, it was kind of fascinating because what that showed were exactly the symptoms she was feeling. Because I remember Danielle being just floored that somebody finally understood and there was something scientific that could show what was going on in her brain.
Yeah.
And the woman who was doing that test said, certain brain waves would flip, and that was why she'd have this feeling of heaviness where she literally could not move. And it was because of the way the brain waves were functioning. And I remember this woman saying to her, "It's going to be worse before it gets better." Do you remember that, Danielle? And she had one night where she was in tears and holding her head, and she said, "I think I'm going to die. You need to take me to the emergency room."
Wow.
And that next morning, she came in and she had felt better than she had felt for the many months prior to that.
Yeah.
And it was her brain literally rewiring.
Yes.
So it was just, and not knowing, not finding anything after 2 years. We had planned to move and we weren't moving because we didn't want to, because she wasn't well enough. We had conversations, is she going to be able to ever have a life on her own?
Yes.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We had a lot of conversations.
Yes.
And then, like I said, this friend of mine who's a health practitioner who knew Danielle, she had talked to Danielle, and she said, this could be something that I think could help her. And I was all about it. We had been so open to so many things. So I was very excited when I came to Danielle. When she looked at that bottle and she was like, "Mom,
Yeah.
salt and water? What does your friend think?"
Exactly.
In my head.
Yeah, and Danielle, given you got a background in biology, tell us a little bit about what did you think when your mum bought this bottle? Do you think she'd lost it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And bless my mom, she's so trusting of her friend. Well, she knows her friend knows her world, and so she just said, "Well, she's clearly researched it, so it's good."
It's good.
And I said, "Mom, the ingredients are sodium chloride and water." That's all. So,
yeah.
I don't know what she's talking about, but I think she got involved in a scam. And I Googled it, right? And it's funny because I should know better. If you want to do actual research, you should go to things where it's legitimate research, right? Go to Google Scholar.
Yeah, or PubMed or
places. I didn't, and I saw what I was looking for, right? So I clicked on the things that caught my attention that said scam because that's what I was looking for.
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah, it's funny how we do that, right?
Yeah.
Create our own reality.
Yep, we'll go and find the evidence to support our opinions. Yep.
And my mom, however, she was open, and she had bone on bone in her fingers, and she was having a really hard time. I remember her telling me that pushing the covers off of her in the morning would cause severe pain down her whole body.
Wow.
I was fortunate that I was home because I was like cutting the vegetables for dinner. She couldn't grip the knife.
Couldn't do it. Yeah.
She started drinking it. The gel didn't exist. It was just a liquid. And so I think it was around 6 weeks in, her range of motion came back in her hands.
Wow.
And, she said the discomfort she was having was still there, but just not as intense. But the range of motion was back, which gave her hope. And I got to be honest, my response to her was, "This is a placebo." I'm like, "Mom."
Of course. Couldn't be anything else. It's only salt and water.
Yeah. And but my dad went, "Well, let's see, it helped your joints." And he'd had a injury to his knee with college football, and so he had to have this injury for like over 30 years. And he started using it, and I distinctly remember I was out walking the dog, and my dad ran up to me and he said, "Danny, look." And I said, "Dad, what am I looking at?" And I'm like, I got nothing.
I'm running.
And he goes, "I have a knee brace on." So he was running without the knee brace. He was rowing without his knee brace. And he said he felt like he was 30 years old again in his workouts. And he said, "Danielle, you're getting on this stuff." And
Wow.
They said 6 months. They wanted me to agree to take it for 6 months. And I told them, if you want to waste your money for that long, fine.
Yep, go right ahead. Yeah.
With an eye roll.
Of course. So what amount did you start on, Danielle?
From my memory, Mom might remember it better, but from my memory, it was I had a bottle of the first, like I think I drank like half a bottle at night, half a bottle the next morning, and then it was 4 ounces, like in the morning and at night.
Okay, so like, yep, double dose, morning and night. Yep.
Yep. And we didn't. My mom really got no guidance on how to take it or anything like that. And so, I was doubling up. I didn't know I could double up even more than that, or
Yeah.
So nothing was really happening, and I was telling them they were wasting their money and kind of like still rolling my eyes as I took it, but I was taking it. And around the 3-month mark, I remember my parents looking at me and saying, Danielle, don't you want to take a nap? You've been doing a lot. Don't you want to lie down? Because I used to go to the grocery store, I took a nap. Talk on the phone to somebody, I took a nap. Read a book, I took a nap. Any activity, I took a nap. And I was going, no, I feel fine. And my energy was coming back. And all of a sudden, it was like this fogginess that had been in my head just started to clear, and I could think again. And that pounding that had been so consistent for over 2 years stopped.
Yeah.
And I think this is important because I think this gets missed sometimes when I share my story. Those things got better, but I was still struggling with like sensitivity to light, sensitivity to noise. But I just thought, that's my life back. Like if I don't have a pounding in my head and I can think clearly, and I have energy, I'll live with the other things.
Yes.
If it does this, that's great. and my cognitive therapist, she's really the one that got me thinking, because what she said to me, she said, Danielle, for 30 years, I have been working with people with your type of injury. And she said, I have never watched someone recover so rapidly, so far out from the initial trauma. She said, with your type of injury, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And she said, what the hell's that stuff you started drinking?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was when I really went, what is that stuff I started drinking? So
curious.
It piqued my curiosity, and bless my mom. My mom is really the reason that all of this exists in my life, because she put my cognitive therapist and me smartly on the phone with Dr. David Silverman.
Very good.
He's on the medical board of the company, and my therapist wanted to talk to him. And so we all got to talk. And for the first time, the light bulb started going off in my mind as to why this could work for their joint issues, my dad's energy, my head issue.
Yeah.
It was because foundationally, every cell in the body communicates with this. And so when you add in the communication back, it doesn't matter what's off in your body, it's going to go to that. So it's going to do something different in everyone. And I just went, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. So now are you like 2 months in when you started to have an elimination of all those symptoms, or yes, 3 months in? Now, so did you ever at any point think, well, if I'm getting this result, what would I get if I doubled the dose again? Just kept it there, right?
Yeah, it literally never crossed my mind. No, it was like, oh, that's what you take. You take 4 ounces in the morning, 4 at night. Yeah, it never crossed my mind. I never went to like an event. I remember my mom took me to an event one time, but they turned the lights off and they played a movie, a video, and I couldn't have one light source in a room. It set my head off. And so I went to the event, and then I ended up leaving because I couldn't listen to the event.
Yeah.
I really had no idea.
No.
I didn't know what I did.
You didn't have the education. You just had the trust of your mum, and you were taking it, and now the evidence was starting to show up that these molecules are doing something. So from there on, like, where are you at with your recovery now, or how did your recovery progress? Are some of those symptoms still with you?
That's a great question. So it's been 5 years that I've been drinking ASEA, and we've shared up to the 3 months in, and I stayed on 8 ounces a day. And I would say it was probably about a year on ASEA that my sensitivity to light started to go away, where I could get in the car at night and I didn't have to wear sunglasses, because it used to be that the headlights from another car, like blind, it was like someone putting a flashlight right in my eye. Yeah. And that's for sunglasses. So I was not having to wear my sunglasses at night, and I could handle, daytime light again. And the thing that really lingered, there was 2 things. It was my sensitivity to noise. Yeah. Like music. There was no music in my life. I couldn't handle it. And The other thing was my heart rate. So if my heart rate, if it got too high, it would set off things in my head. And so I couldn't exercise, which was really, because I'd been an athlete my whole life. So those things started to steadily get better. I would say it was probably about 2 years drinking ASEA, 2.5, that I was able to start biking and get my heart rate going, and it was okay. And I was, so excited.
Yes.
I to do that again. And then it was actually, it was about a year ago. So it was 4 years on ASEA. It took a while with the music. And I don't know why I did it, Janene, but I was driving in my car and I just turned on the radio. I hadn't turned on the radio for 6 years, and I got to where I was going and my head didn't hurt. And I went, like crying, because just imagine your life without music. It feeds your soul. Sometimes I would just listen to music and deal with the headache afterwards because I wanted to feel that, it was worth it to me to go through pain to have that pleasure.
Yes.
And, the music again. And,
that's the interesting thing about our bodies, when there's an inner knowing and an inner knowledge that allows us to take a step that we just wouldn't have consciously done. And I've had that experience too on the redox, and I just did something one day and I thought, what just happened? But, my body knew I was strong enough to do what it was that I did, that I wasn't doing. So it's really interesting when you have that experience. So are we 6 years in now from when you started on the redox, or 5?
We're 5.
A little over 5.
Yeah. And so where along the journey did you either return back to work or get a sense of what you wanted to do next? Because your whole life had changed, and it's almost like a rebirthing now. It's like Danielle's back, but did Danielle want to return to her past life? Prior to June 2012. Yeah. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, you put that exactly how it was. I've told people before, and maybe it sounds drastic, but it literally feels like I died and I came back, because the person was what I knew, the life I had, it was just like it was down.
Yeah.
Now I was feeling well, and my perspective on life just changed. To the core changed. Yeah. Because tomorrow I couldn't be here, right? This could happen again tomorrow. Nothing's guaranteed. And so, and it's not a negative. It's not that I'm negative or scared or anything. It's empowered me to live in the moment and to be present and to ask, why am I here and what purpose do I want to have with the life that I have?
It's a wonderful gift, really.
Oh, I'm so grateful.
So young, yes.
Yeah. A tough one, but boy, I know you get the gift of this. I just get that. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was my mom again.
Yeah.
My mom, she knows. She knows me. And she said, Danielle, I think sharing ASEA is what you're meant to do. And I said, Mom, I'm not getting into network marketing.
Marketing thing? No.
Not that. I said, that's sleazy. I'm not doing that.
Oh, God.
And because I had gotten well, though, they could finally move. And they were moving out to Arizona. I was moving down to Florida. And my parents asked if I could, help with their move. And so we were driving across the country, and there was an Envision conference in Las Vegas. And they were moving to Arizona. So it's 4 hours away. And she said, will you just go with me to this? I've won the ability to go. I can bring a guest with me. I want you to come. And I said, Mom, I will come to one of these things. So that I said I've come, and I'll come with an open mind, but I'm never coming to anything ever again.
Don't mention this again.
Famous last words, yeah.
Last words. And it's funny because, I had noise canceling headphones in still at Envision because I couldn't handle the speakers. It was so loud for me. I was still sensitive to noise then.
Yeah.
And I sat in the back of the room so that I could get out if I needed to get out. And I remember I was sitting on the edge of my chair for 8 hours because Tyler Norton did an 8-hour ethos training. And every hour was on one of the pieces of our ethos. And I remember, I have the notes still in my cell phone because it was all of these light bulbs went off. And I just went, I cannot believe what got me was the book, The 3 Questions.
Yes.
About, what am I supposed to do with my life? Who's the best, who am I supposed to do it for? All of that. And I went, that's the realization I've had in my own life, is that you're meant to be in the present moment doing whatever's best for the person in front of you. And if that's what this company is teaching, and they're teaching you to just become a better human being, regardless of ASEA, I just thought, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that. That resonates with me. And then I said, okay, so this network marketing thing, let's talk to these people that, are at the top. Right? So I cornered Alan Noble. I don't know if he even remembers this. I went out to the bathroom and he was there and he was on his cell phone, and I waited 10 minutes for him to stop being on his cell phone so that I could talk to him.
Yeah.
And Bo Buck, I remember having a conversation with him, and I talked to all these top leaders, and when I was looking in their eyes, I mean, some of them were gotten to tears talking to me, and I just went, this is different. And these are people I want to be around because I can grow, and I want to learn how to become the people they've become and had the impact that they've had.
Yes.
And have that in network marketing. And these people were so giving. And no one talked about money, which was what I thought was going to come in. Not that money's a bad thing, but I had always thought network marketing was about, make money, whatever it's all about. And here it was, no, we have a gift and this is a mission to help other people. And, we need to be stewards of this technology. And yeah, when you help others, you can help yourself in a big way. And you only need so much. And then you can give even better to society and to the community. And I just went, I want that. And the ability to travel, to meet people from all over the world. I mean, this right now, impacting people in Australia, getting to talk with you, like that was part of the vision that got in my mind at that conference. And I just went, this is what I want to do. And I had just moved to Florida. I knew the guy I had moved down there for. And I thought, what do I do now? So I just started talking.
Yeah, that's the question always on people's minds. Yeah. What do I do to get started? Yeah.
And I remember what I said was, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to study. And Bo Buck looked at me, and he's so tall.
He's the biggest man I've ever seen.
He goes, Danielle, did you listen to anything? And I was like, huh? He goes, you don't have to learn anything. You learn this by doing it. He said, go talk to people. All you need to do when you go home is go talk to people. And so I got home and I opened up my success guide. And I remember sitting at the house, going through my success guide, writing down my first list of 20 people. And then I just started talking to them. And, you learn by doing it. And I put my foot in my mouth 1,000 times and I did everything wrong. And it doesn't matter because, I've become, like I've learned, and now I'm teaching other people. And it's become so much more for me now. It's this ability to inspire other people to look at the fact that, look, there's more to life. And this is a great vehicle that you can utilize to get more out of life, either with your own health or financially. And it's just being able to watch now other people's lives being changed because I was brave enough to open my mouth. I that was a feeling I could have.
Exactly. And I mean, that's the thing. We do need to step into courage to share the molecules. And most of us go through life like never even getting in touch with being courageous. So the personal development is just massive. And, the more we grow as a person, the more we contribute to others on this planet. And what better place to be able to do it, and what better vehicle is a product that's, distributed through a word of mouth model and with a company that has a heart and a soul. And I don't think we'll ever find that again in our lifetime, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's just a beautiful, beautiful summary of, what's now shaping your life moving forward, Danielle. And the same for you, Lynn, because I know you've dedicated a lot of your life now to making a difference to others with these redox signaling molecules. You've been an amazing mentor for Danielle. And look at those people you just mentioned. Alan Noble, we've just had him out here in Australia. Oh my goodness, I love that man. I just love him. And there's so many people in this area I just love. Yeah. So I know you've got a big mission and a vision, and you pretty well just shared that with us now. And I'm just so grateful that we have you and Lynn on the planet making a difference and sharing your story, because it's an incredible, profound story. And for such a young person to, be out there as a torchbearer of this technology, I'm really excited about it, because there are more and more young people that I would love to see come into this. And, have choices in their life and grow as a person. I think that's one of the most the biggest advantages of this model. Like, I'm a better person today than what I was 2 years ago as a result of dealing with myself, getting myself out of the way to be that person and make the difference that I'm present to as well. And it's ongoing. It doesn't stop, right?
That's right.
It's ongoing for sure. I am so grateful that you have both joined us today. It's probably 6 o'clock at night now. I'm sure we've gone for much longer than 20 minutes, and I don't even care. I know I've blown the timeline out. Your story and your sharing was just so beautiful and so eloquent and so heartfelt that, yeah, people will be so grateful for what you've shared with us tonight, Danielle and Lynn. And I am so putting out that you come to Australia.
Yeah.
And we're doing a road trip, Danielle. Seriously, we're going to do it. We're going to have some fun. Yeah, gorgeous. Thank you so much, ladies. And I look forward to seeing you probably at Ascent. Lynn, are you going to? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll see you at Ascent. I'll be there with Julie Opperman. And maybe next year we'll be both on the Diamond Summit.
Yeah.
That'd be a good goal to have, right?
It's a wonderful goal.
All right, so just stop the recording now. So I'm going to say goodnight, everybody. To those of you who have joined us tonight, you could be looking at this as a recording later on. So whatever time of the day it is for you out there, all the best, and enjoy the rest of your day or your night.